Hi everyone, I just got back from KublaCon, and I'm going to talk about 10 great games that I played. 11 great games. So KublaCon is a gaming convention that happens in San Francisco. They say they have about 3,000 people, and it's spread out across 2 different hotels. There's like an RPG hotel and then a gaming hotel. And so I was at the gaming hotel. I was there running a World Series of Board Gaming event. Oh, come on. My picture, my KublaCon picture keeps falling. That was given to me by my bestie that I wanted to have in the background. Come on. I guess I could just get some tape and put it here. Let's do that. Yeah, but I was there running a World Series of Board Gaming satellite tournament. This is one of the only 2 satellite tournaments that happened in the United States, which is really cool because players could win a first round bye into the main event. If you don't know about the World Series of Board Gaming, well, it's a place where you can win $25,000 just playing board games. I am their director of production. That is the title I gave myself. And I deal with any of their streaming, or if you go to the WSBG YouTube channel, you can go and subscribe to that because, come on, it's just me. And it's helpful to me. It makes me look like I'm good at my job. But it's also a very fun event. It's a very well-run event, I think. There's no board gaming event of its kind like the World Series of Board Gaming. And what I think is really cool about the event is that really the type of people who we get. Most people are like, WSBG, like World Series, I don't want to be that competitive. I don't want to be super stressed. But it's really not a stressful environment whatsoever. Everybody is super friendly. People are there to compete, right? And to do their best. But from what I have heard from attendees, like 99% of people are super cool. And I could tell story after story of things that I've witnessed of like the community coming together. And so I don't mind putting my face to this organization, which means a lot to me. My face, that is. Hey, look, there's my face. Look at that. So one of the benefits about working for the World Series of Board Gaming is I put my hand up to say, yes, if we ever need to run things at other conventions, I'm happy to go. And the best part about that is not just doing stuff for the World Series, which I do enjoy, but it's also getting to potentially hang out with some of you who I wouldn't otherwise get the chance to fly to these places to see. Like, no way, I'm in Toronto. It was like a 5.5-hour flight. No way would I be able to fly to KublaCon for a board gaming convention, right? Just wouldn't make any sense. But it was a great time. I got to play a bunch of games with some of my lovely friends and patrons, and I had a friggin' blast. And I want to talk about these games because we love lists, we love ranking things. So I'm going to talk about the 11 games that I played, all of which I thought were great. And that's exciting. Like, there wasn't really a dud in the batch. There's just sort of levels of great, which was cool. And I also want to give a huge shout out to the lovely people who I played games with. James, JB, Joe, Aaron, plus some of the people who were playing in WSBG. I got to play some games with you as well. Played some fun games with Henry, who was at the Wingspan final table of WSBG 2024. But especially thanks to everybody who waited for me an enormous amount while I had to get up and do my job. So essentially, like, near the end of the night, I would try to play games with people as things were winding down, but I still would have to pop up and check in with the games once they were finished, give people the spiel. If people were walking by, I needed to interrupt the flow of the game. And so I'm always very clear that this will be an aggravating and annoying experience for everyone involved, and I am eternally grateful when people decide to sign up for that. So that was very nice and was super appreciative, and that allowed me to get a bunch of cool games in, a lot of which are amazing. So let's start off the list. Now, starting off the list is number 11, Coup. I mean, Cou's just a great game regardless. Cou's a great filler game. It hits the bottom of the list because only like a couple rounds of 3-player Coup, and I think I interrupted those as well. But anytime I play Coup, I always have the Double Duke. I always have Double Duke, except when I get challenged and get knocked out immediately. So that sucked, but I did a great bluff of having a Double Duke. I said I had Double Duke and I only had one Duke, a Duke and a Contessa. And then they challenged me on the Double Duke, and I was like, hey, flip over whatever card you want. Whichever one, flip it over. That's the one. And they flipped over the Duke, and I took a big gamble, a 50-50 gamble, that they wouldn't turn over the Duke. And then they thought that I had 2 Dukes, and I was able to bluff the Duke. Still lost, because I challenged a Contessa, and somebody had a Contessa. But, you know, we're going to focus on the victory here. Coup is a great game. I love Coup. Coup will never leave my collection. I've played hundreds of games of Coup. It holds a huge, lovely place in my heart. And yeah, I love playing this game, even if it's just really quick. Number 10 was another filler game. You've heard of For Sale, but have you heard of For Sale with Cars? Huh? I mean, it's For Sale. For Sale is a fine auction game. It's never going to hit my top 100 games. I think it's okay. While I was able to win, I just think it's so funny that there's this For Sale Autorama. It's like, oh yeah, people weren't into the buying and flipping houses sort of thing, which, oof, yuck. But people love cars, let's get them. If you haven't played For Sale, it's a very simple auction game. You have 2 rounds of auctions. Essentially, you're bidding on the numbers that you will then use to bid on the points. So you have to get the numbers first, and then you get the points. But you know if you have the highest value number, you'll know then who has all the different numbers, and you're trying to suss out, okay, is my opponent going to play their 29? Like I had a 28 and a 30, and I was trying to bluff that I was playing the 30 so that I could play my 28 and win the top prize. And then I could play my 30 later, right? So it gets into a couple fun negotiation or reading your opponent. And I always love games where I get to read my opponent as well. It's one of my favorite things in games because you feel clever if you make it happen. And if you don't, you're like, well, there's no way I could ever have known. So yeah, that was number 10. All right, now we're getting to games that are new to me. Only 3 more I've played, but one had a new component to it. This one was new to me. This one we played. My flight was, I had to get up and leave the hotel at 6 a.m. On Monday. We started this at like 1 a.m. on Monday. But you know what? I was like, I don't care. I want to keep playing games. And people were up for staying up and playing this. So I played this with Joe and Henry. This is called Empyreal Spells and Steam. This comes in a ginormous box. Yes, I said that right. Ginormous. You can see the ginormity of it just right off to the right of your screen here. To the right, if you look to the right of your screen, that box is half filled with foam because they're like, oh, we wanted to leave room for expansions. It's so stupidly large for a game that does not need to be this stupidly large. It is a take on a pick up and deliver game, but it's kind of has to do with engine building as well. It gave me a very Splendor feel, both in strategy and in terms of action optimization. Essentially, you're going to put out a little train car. You can see the blue train cars are over here. You'll put out a train car, and then on your turn, you will run your little engine. You'll move your person a certain number of spaces. The more you move, the more mana you have to spend. And then you can build another train car in a touching location that shares that resource type. So on this one, the red one, for example, that I'm obscuring with my head, but now I'm not. The red one has just placed over here, and for the cost of 1 mana, they can put down a train on either a green space or a blue space. You want to connect your trains to the respective city of its color. So right here, we have the red city. Which city right here? This is the red city right here. And essentially yellow is going to be trying to connect all of these trains to the red city and then deliver the red city, and they would, take off one of these little flags to show that they've delivered a certain amount of gems and points. So you're trying to do this pick up and deliver chain, creating networks that you can grab resources while also using special powers and one-time abilities. And the interesting thing about the game is whenever you get to, let's see if there's a better board that I can showcase up here. Whenever you get to the end of your track, so to speak, you can deliver, and you can also improve your mana or improve the number of trains on your car, so you can do multiple things if you land in one space, or get special one-time powerful abilities. They're all fun. My issue with this game is that, very similar to Splendor, it is the less fun thing that is the best strategy. I just kind of spammed mana, so I had that flexibility of jumping right to the end of the track, deliver, and I never really needed to worry about improving my trains whatsoever, because it just takes it's a little bit too slow to improve your trains, because you still need mana to activate multiple trains in a row. So you have to always activate with mana. So because of that, it's the optimal choice seems to be just get mana and not anything else. So strategy-wise, that kind of puts it down a bit. Large box size, it kind of puts it down a bit. But it was still really fun. It was still quite enjoyable. Was very happy to have learnt it and played it. And yeah, it was a fun one. I think it's probably way too expensive just based upon the box size for the game experience that it actually gives you. However, if somebody else has it and they want to play it, don't spit in their face and call them Sally, but say yes instead. So that's number 9. Number 8 was one that I was very excited about. I was excited about all these. Number 8, we have Dinosaur Island. This is the first time that I've ever played Dinosaur Island. I'm a huge fan of Dinosaur Island Raw and Right. I love that game. And so I was very excited to see how the OG Dinosaur Island compares and if it has some similarities between the two. We played a short game of this. I think all of us around the table probably would have preferred a longer game because we found that the goals were achieved fairly quickly before we were able to get any sort of engine off the ground. The main decision space, I think, kind of comes in this one. There's a couple phases. Phase 1, you have 3 workers, let's say, 3 bidding tokens, and you can put them out to get stuff. If you put them to take dice, you get the number of DNA times the number that you put down. You can upgrade the amount of DNA that you can hold, you can get additional workers, or you can get additional dinosaur recipes that you will then put into your park and put in your park over here. Then also in phase 2, you're going to go over to this side of things and you'll get to purchase either additional specialists to help you out, additional rides or concessions or attractions, or additional worker placement spots. And then phase 3, you're going to go to your own board, use your worker placement spots to generate DNA, construct dinosaurs, craft them, etc., increase your security level to deal with threats. And then in phase 4, you will pull people from a bag to see if they'll pay you for coming to the dinosaur park or if they'll sneak in like the hooligans that they are. You go through those cycles as much as you can until all the goals are finished. Why this one's lower for me is, again, I think if we played a longer game, it would have gone up a little bit higher, but also I saw no reason to play this over the Roar and Write version. There are a number of different parts that will chain together, but I think Dinosaur Island Roar and Write really distills a nice feeling of the game while removing some of the bloat. I like the additional worker placement spots that you can get. In Dinosaur Island Roar and Write, you get a whole polyomino structures. You try to create pathways in your park, which makes it a little bit more unique. I like the drafting of the dice in Roar and Write a little bit more. You don't have to worry about level caps or having a certain amount of DNA. You're just focusing around that dice drafting. So for me, it takes all the joy of the game, and I don't miss much if I was just going to play the roll and write version, especially at a quarter of the table footprint. So that was my number 9. Still really fun to play, but still an enjoyable time. But I think Roar and Write makes me very happy that I have Roar and Write, and I certainly don't need Dinosaur Island in my collection. I don't know if you would need either in your collection, or both in your collection rather, but yeah, I was very happy to have gotten to play it. Number 7 is Chinatown. We played a rousing game of Chinatown. The top 3 scores were 990,000, 950,000, 950,000. It was a close game. Chinatown is great. It's a great negotiation game because it's just negotiation. It's perfect to play when you're all tired because you're not going to make optimal exchanges. You could also immediately win the game if somebody gives you a bad exchange, or bad for them, rather. But the key to Chinatown, and this is what everybody who I have played it with or played this with really rallied behind, is having a timer for the negotiation. I opt for 1 minute per player. I think that is a good amount of time. And you have to finish your deals in that time because you will run out of time to make those deals because you're going to want to hold out. You want to hold out as a bargaining chip. You want to say, no, I'm not going to make that deal. It's not beneficial to me. But if the time's ticking down and that's your only way to potentially get money, you might cede a bad deal in the hopes of developing something for the future. Or you might have a really good deal, but you haven't negotiated the finer details, and then you don't have time to put the stuff down. That has happened to me numerous times, and especially when I came in at 950, if I had been a little bit quicker, I might have had that wiggle room to generate an extra 50K at some point in time. And so I really like the restrictions and the pressure that it puts upon everyone, and makes the negotiation fast, frenetic, furious, and furry. Oh, sorry, fun. I meant fun. Chinatown is never going to be at the top of one of these lists, but this was a particularly great play of Chinatown, and I love it at 5 players. I think it works best at 5 players because there's more frenetic and more trading that's happening. Number 6 was Wonderland's War. This is the 4th time I've played this game, 3rd time I've played this game, and I genuinely love this game. I think it is a great game. One of the main factors, oh yeah, it's not even up there yet. one of the main sort of detractors of this game or criticisms of this game is people say, yes, it's Battle Quacks of Quedlinburg, but why am I not just playing Quacks of Quedlinburg? I can play Quacks of Quedlinburg in an hour, and Wonderland's War will take at least 2 hours, maybe 2.5, maybe 3, depending upon the players. So I saw that with this one as well. We had 2 new players in this, and then myself and JB, we were playing the expansion factions. So there's 2 new expansion factions that are coming down the line at some point. They're the White Queen and the Caterpillar. Details of these are on Druid City Games, their Discord. They have the playtesting files that are out there. And so we had the playtesting files that were in existence right now. I thought the Caterpillar was cool. I thought the White Queen wasn't as fun as some of the other factions that I presented, but these are still in development. And so I contacted Druid City Games and I was like, hey, I'm going to talk about Wonderland's War. Can I talk about your expansions? And James Hudson was just like, yeah, but they're still in development. So like, they're not solidified as to what they are yet. So I don't want people's expectations going one way or the other. And I said, okay, yeah, no, that's the problem. I'm not going to give any like specifics. I'm just going to say that I played with them and that they're upcoming. He said, great, that's no problem. So I still love Wonderland's War. I still think it's a top tier game. I definitely got the feeling this time that, oh yeah, I probably could have played Quacks of Quedlinburg and had an equally enjoyable time, but I'm willing to, there were some other factors at play with the group that might have contributed to that as well. I still think it's really cool. It's a game that I will want to add in my collection at some point. It's a game that I'm going to desperately try to just review so I can get a free copy instead of having to pay the $200 for it. But if I can't get that, then I will pay the $200 for it because it is that good a game. And if you know me and how cheap I am, I think that says something towards how great this game really is and how much fun this game is. Bag building and the push your luck of pulling from a bag can be very exciting. And I love the draft. And I love all the cool powers that you get to add into your deck and the cool Wonderlandians that you get to add into your deck. And it's just great. So yeah, kind of hits the middle of the road here. It was all right. I'm interested to see down the line what they do with the factions, and I'll talk about it more when it's on Crowdfunding Countdown and see what changes they've made from the factions from when I played it, and I can bring that experience to you all. All right, top 5 time, we have Scarface 1920 at number 5. I wasn't expecting this one to be up so high, to be honest. I thought this one was going to be a little bit lower, but it is a good game. This is a game that I've wanted to try for a very long time. I thought this looked super cool when it was on Kickstarter. It is an area-controlled deck-building game. That's what they put it forward as. And so there's an interesting flow to this game as well. You're never going to use the game trays as you're holding all your components. That's just nonsense. But you want to get the most money. The person with the most money wins. How you get money is by taking over certain sections of neighborhood and then selling in those sections. So here you've taken over that district and you can sell 4 barrels for $19. Now people can move in and kill you and take over all your barrels. That certainly could happen. It might happen once or twice. People can also just remove that from play, but it costs them an awful lot of stuff to do. You have your own personal ways to convert resources into other resources, but the main flow of the game is you're going to have 3 cards in your hand. You're going to choose how many cards you will play from those 3. The more you play, the more your crime level will go up, and the higher that is, the worse things that will happen to you during the regularly scheduled events of the game. These cards will have symbols of either handshakes or explosions. The explosions are often used for attacking things. The handshakes are often used for recruiting new people or extending your influence upon the board or upgrading your board. It has a combo of the 2 of them. But that's the flow of the game, and you'll get to take 1 action out of what are friggin' 20 different actions that you can do. There's a lot that you can choose from. Okay, stop showing me those. Show me we passed it early on. These actions, these orders, 15. There's 15 actions that you can do. Like recruit, put people on the board, get little objectives that you have to complete, get additional private supplies that you can protect your booze from being taken over by other people, adding businesses in, etc. The factions are very asymmetric. They all have a boss who can do mob boss cool things. Mine basically let me complete jobs without needing to complete the requirements. So I was able to get these super powerful jobs early out in the game that I would have had to build up towards for the game. That gave me just a crap load of extra income for not controlling things. I was like, great, I'm just going to bunker down in one spot, not control anything, make my money. I had my own private way to convert resources into even more money, and then I got money for everybody else's buildings. So I was fairly untouchable because of this. And I also always held on to the family ring, which you get every time you recruit a player. But if you're holding it at the beginning of your turn, you also get income. You get an extra $2 every turn. So I definitely had a very fun time exploiting this. What I found with this one was there were maybe too many options of things to do. Maybe not, but I didn't touch 50% of the actions. I didn't feel like I needed to, and I also felt that like moving around the board took such a significant investment that it never really felt worth it to go and to wage war and to take out another group of people. Maybe it would have been a different game, but we were playing fairly aggressively. I was playing this was Joe's game, and he was saying, yeah, this was one of the more aggressive games of this that I've played. And he's like, yeah, it was fun. We were like attacking each other and whatever, and saying, okay, you've come for me, now I'm going to come for you. But even with that, there wasn't that much turnover. And it really cost people a lot to try to target people back. I kept on saying, I'm going to go car bomb you, but then I could never do it because it just wouldn't have made sense. But all in all, a pretty fun game. I don't know if I would want to spend the $120 on this that it costs, and especially because now I also own The Godfather, Corleone's Empire, and I think I prefer Godfather, Corleone's Empire more. I've only played each one of them once, really, but I like the area control a lot more in The Godfather. I really like this, that there's some deck building, and the powers of the characters that you get are really fun. That feels really good to build up in that capacity, but I think the flow of the game and the tension of the game in Godfather, Corleone's Empire gives me more mob boss. I feel like the hits felt like they hit more. The scrapping out for area control felt like it was more a part of the game, and that's what I want in this scrappy mobster-themed board game. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Would for sure play it again, but it wasn't one that absolutely blew me away, and I think because I have Godfather Corleone's Empire, it's not one that I would now be clamoring to own. All right, number 4. Now we're getting into the real cream of the crop. We've got Luthier. We had a prototype version of Luthier. It hasn't dropped yet, it hasn't been delivered, but we had a copy that everybody kept on running over and saying, whoa, look at this game. Can I play this game? Well, we're in the middle of it, but I want to play right now. Let me sit down. Or we'll have people who just ran over and shouted at the top of their lungs right next to the board, a hungry gamer, without any regard for anybody playing or the volume of their voice or anyone who was running a tournament at the same time. A hungry gamer. But Luthier was great. Luthier was as great as I expected it to be. This definitely took a long time. I kept on interrupting the play as well because I was doing my job. And so it took an overly long time. So I'm sure it wasn't that fun for everybody else, but I had a great time. Let's get back to that picture of the full board so I can explain the game for you. This is by Paverson Games. They made Distilled. I think it's going to be friggin' wicked. I think this definitely could have been rethemed as Night Shift, the board game, as well, since you are trying to collect as many patrons as you can and then satisfy their needs consistently over and over. And when you satisfy them, well, you flip them around and you stick them right under your board. And then they give you a permanent bonus right after. Now, if you don't satisfy them in enough time, they will leave, but you can tease them a bit. You can give them a little tease. Each patron will require a certain number of things, like Bach over here, who wants to be on his Bach, and he'll want a string instrument, and he'll also want you to repair a percussion instrument or play him a song with a percussion instrument. And if you satisfy every turn, this cube will move over and Bach will give you another special little treat because he's tantalized. He knows what's coming. He knows that he's going to be very satisfied. But if it ever gets to here, he's like, you know what? I haven't been satisfied. I haven't been teased. I'm out of here. So you can drop in. You can be like, listen, I'll play a little song, but don't worry, the violin's still coming. And then he'll be like, yeah, okay, I can't wait. I'm so excited. And then he'll start giving you gifts again. And then you'll eventually satisfy him, score a bunch of points, flip him over on his back and just slide him in. Look at Pachelbel. You know Pachelbel. Pachelbel's cannon is a euphemism for something. Now the flow of Luthier, where's the big board? So the flow of Luthier is everybody has these chips, these workers that you will assign to spots in the worker phase. You'll put them face down. Whoever gets there first will break ties if it's of the same number. So if I put a 3 down in the salon, and then you put a 5 down in the salon, and then Pachelbel puts a 3 down in the salon, well, you'll go first because you put the 5 down in the salon. I'll go second because I put the 3 down there first, and then Pachelbel will put a 3 down. Each one of these spots will do different things. Essentially, you're getting patrons, you're playing songs, you're repairing instruments, and you're getting the schematics for instruments, which you can then build and refinish. You have to go through a number of different processes to make a beautiful instrument for everybody. So once everybody's put their workers down, then we'll do the activation phase, where on your turn, you can activate a stack of things. And this is where the order of operations matters, because I might have put something over in the repair area and then wanted to use the bonus that I got from going to that area to purchase my instrument. But if somebody activates the instrument section before I have the resources, I may not be able to purchase that instrument. That's a severe example, but that's an example of the order of operations of how things work. And so you want to predict what people are going to activate and also what they are putting down. It was super fun. I like all the decisions. I like satisfying my patrons. I've always liked satisfying my patrons, and I made sure to satisfy each and every one of them to the best of my ability. I was devastated because I really thought I had a chance of winning. I was 14 points away from the guy who's developing it for BGA on my first play. Okay, and I wanted to beat him. Ugh, I had a big losing streak in KublaCon, and I'm really upset about it. I really, nothing gives me greater joy than playing a game for the first time against somebody who's played it like 10 times and then winning. Nothing gives me greater joy, but I did not get to experience that great joy many times at KublaCon, and I will be forever regretting it for the rest of my life. So to the people who stopped me, thank you for taking away all of my joy. Thank you for taking away everything. You've taken everything from me. I just had that one thing, and you decided to take it from me. How dare you? But yeah, Luthier was great. Luthier was really good. I think this is better than Distilled, and I enjoyed Distilled, but this is mechanically more interesting. The prototype was really well made, so I have no doubt that everybody who's going to get a copy of this will really enjoy themselves. All right, number three. Number 3 was Galactic Cruise. I played Galactic Cruise for the first time, and boy, oh boy, it's really good. We're in the category of things that like I want to get. I've emailed Kins and Key Games, and I'm like, yo, you want me to review it? It's going to be positive. I want to review it because I want a copy. I'll pay for shipping. Galactic Cruise was awesome. It was really good. There was a great flow of the game. This is another one of those games where I was running around, and then I sat down and I saw everybody had built 2 ships and was already sending people on a voyage, and I hadn't even built one. And I thought, oh no, I have a lot to catch up on. The core, this is a good one. It's like, what are those symbols? Those don't look like the symbols that I know, but they are. They're just a different place. The core loop of the game is you have a worker, and on your turn, you can put the worker out and do something. You do 2 actions of the worker. If you put the worker in one spot, you can do, both of these actions, or one of these actions twice, or both of these actions once. Or if anything's connected with a gear of your color, you can do any of the connected actions for free as well. So you're kind of building out a network of worker placement spaces. Or instead of that, you can send people on your ship, because over the course of the game, you're taking these blueprints and you're flipping them over and you're creating a ship, which you will then set off to this destination. Every time they land at a planet, you'll get to pay resources for your patrons, your people, your shipgoers, your cruisers, that's what they're called, for any of the cruisers to go experience sights beyond their wildest imaginations. This is a game that mechanically just works. Everything about it is cool. All the actions are satisfying. And you can get into real conundrums if you are not planning for what actions you're going to take when the end of the game happens. The game can come up very quickly every time somebody sets someone off on a cruise or they achieve any of these special goals. You get to put a cube up here, and once all these cubes are filled, the game's over. At the same time, you're building different ships, you're sending different ships off into space. Whenever you send somebody off in space, you get to take one of these pieces off the board, which can increase the income that you're getting. Everything always gets you something. You can upgrade yourself to have permanent abilities as well when you make deliveries or when you go on your little space trip, which are super powerful. You can unlock additional workers that when they bump people out of spots, you get additional income. One really core fun part about this game is that you are constantly bumping people out of spots, but you don't want to bump people out of spots. You can go to wherever you want, it's fine. But anytime you bump someone out of a spot, they get income. So you want to stop from bumping them out and force them to recall all their people. That didn't happen very much in our 4-player game because you only really have 6 worker placement spots, so the bumping was pretty free form, but there were some times in which it had some sort of application. It was great. It was really, really great. The flow of the game just works nicely. There's a race for a bunch of different things. It feels like you're always racing to do things, but you're never fully blocked off from doing things. You get special one-time powerful cards that you can use and implement. Everything just works together really well. And if you're a fan of chunky Euro games, I liked this more than the Gallerist. I haven't played any other Lacerda, but people often compare this to Vital Lacerda's works. People at the table were saying that they liked it more than Kanban as well. These are playtesters for Lacerda who started their own game and their own company, and it really worked very well in a chunky, satisfying way, and pretty intuitive way too, which was cool. Once you know what all the icons do, fairly intuitive as to how things operate. I didn't have many questions after the teach, so that was great. Yeah, really enjoyed playing Galactic Cruise. Number 2 is a game that I played before only once back at Geekway, and I need to get myself a copy of it. We have Darwin's Journey. Man, oh man, this game is fun. I got wrecked in this one too. Oh, I came in dead last in this one. I was so cocky going into it because I was like, yeah, my first game, I got 250 points. I looked it up on BGG. I was God's gift to Darwin's Journey. I looked up to see what a good point score is, and hardly anyone got my point value. Blah, blah, blah. And then I played this. I just ate it. I just sucked. But it's a testament to how fun this game is to interact with, that I've had both sides of the spectrum and I still am in love with it. I think the choices you get to do here are so fun. There's a bunch of different mini games that you can do, but the core part of what I like about the game is you are building up your own individual workers. Yeah, look at them. They're all so handsome. And you're adding these little tags to your workers to give them access to more and more powerful spots over the course of the game. The other part that I really like about this game is that the game takes place over 5 rounds, and you know what the scoring condition is going to be for each round at the beginning of the game. And you need to hyper focus around, how do I get the most of that scoring condition by the end of that round? It's great. You have 4 workers. It feels like you can do a lot on your turns. And yeah, it was awesome. I got friggin' locked up with my first goal. Oh, it was so bad. And I never got my tent out, and I kept blocked at every turn. I was so frustrated, but it was the great kind of frustration. I think this game is fantastic. I love how many combos that you can do. Like, you'll move the tent, you'll move a person, which will drop somebody into a tent, which will allow you to drop some envelopes out, which will allow you to move your boat, which will allow you to get a research token. There's so many ways of chaining this game together, and it's just awesome. This is another one where I've now contacted Thundergriff Games, and I was like, hey, you want me to review it? It's going to be a positive review. Basically, I say to them, I'm like, listen, if you want, I'm happy to do a review of this game. It will be a very positive review. I like this game a lot. If you don't want to send me a review copy, that's fine. I will be purchasing your game, and you'll be getting a sale. But then I won't spend my time reviewing it and doing a designated video about it. Really, because I need to not add additional things to my plate. And I might do it down the line, right? Like, if I did do reviews for things and talk about games that I want to talk about, but it just won't be moved to, you know, the top of the list, so to speak. But yeah, Darwin's Journey is so good. Oh man, this game's so fun. So friggin' fun. It almost was number 1, I think. But number 1 goes to another Euro game. That's Praga Caput Regni. I'd wanted to try this for a very long time. because nobody should care about it based around the name unless you've lived in Praga, Caput, or Regni. But this is the definition of a Euro game, you know? This is a nice, chonkly little Euro, which the whole part of the game revolves around this wheel. And I was like, uh-oh, it's a rondel, I'm not going to like it. But essentially what you do is you pick one of these tiles, and that will determine what action you get to take. All actions are always available to you. You just will have to pay a cost if you want to take the additional action. And then you also get the additional bonus from whatever is on the inside ring as well. That's it. And then you're doing a bunch of stuff with your actions, naturally. You can be developing your own personal board over here, improving the actions, developing your resources as well. There's these little cubes where you can move them up and then get the benefit of everything that's come before. And so you're deciding, do I invest in building up that engine, or do I invest in just hitting this a couple times to get the resources that I need to purchase other buildings? Because there are other buildings you can purchase as well. These buildings over here, which can go down in this building section where you're surrounding things for points. Also, every time you buy buildings, you get to move up on this castle track, both of these castle tracks, which will make certain tokens that you've acquired worth a certain amount of points at the end of the game. The further up you go, the more points you will get. It's all points, 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 points. You're going to be traveling along this bridge section to get bonuses, trading your eggs for white doors. Yep, it makes sense. But all of this just works together really well, form a delightfully coherent and exciting Euro game. Keep your eyes out for this game. There's a reason why it is number 182 on the list. It was on our super complex games deathmatch, I feel, and I had wanted to try it since then, but it just works. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of ways at the end of the game you're going to really take some time to min-max your options and see what's going to eke out the most points. But it just is a coherent Euro, a coherent and complex, satisfying Euro game. This is one of those games, I do this a lot. and James called me out on it, and I was like, I do this for many games where I think it's a skill of mine where I can play like the first 2 moves of a game and already know how the game is going to progress. Right, the feeling of the game, the flow of the game, the progression of the game. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is... So after 2 moves, I'm like, oh yeah, this game's great. And then I'll continue to say that over the course of the game. The game will just be like, yeah, oh yeah, oh this game is great. It's because when I get enthusiastic about something, I can't contain my enthusiasm. That's why when I eat something delicious, I'll always be like, ooh, this is lovely. Or I'll applaud for the game while I'm playing it because it's so fun and it's working so well. But when a game gives you that feeling, that, oh yeah, this game's great, it's because that feeling evokes in me, like, I see where this is going, I see the implications of the things that I'm already doing, and I see where I might be being inefficient as well and might already want to recalibrate for the next game. But I knew that I would like the game after I played 2 moves of it, right? This is why people are like, especially when people put in the comments, oh, you need to play a game 700 times before you can have an opinion on it. I'm like, honestly, I need to play a game for 2 turns and I should be able to give you a very good opinion on it. Praga's awesome. I finished the game and it held up completely. The only time where that changed was when I was playing Dune Imperium for the first time. And I was like, oh yeah, this game's great. And then I won because of a just random intrigue card draw that I stole from someone. And yes, they shouldn't have let me steal from them. And yes, the intrigue cards can have points in them, but I wasn't aware of this. And so that really shaped the game of Dune Imperium. I was like, what a letdown. But now I've come back to Dune Imperium, and it is one that I enjoy consistently every time I play, because I emphasize to people, listen, intrigue cards can be swingy. You need to know this. Now that you know this, incorporate that into your knowledge of the game and you'll be fine. So yeah, I don't know. This isn't me patting myself on the back that I'm the best reviewer in the land, but I am. This is me saying that this is one of those games which immediately, this and Galactic Cruise, and I think Luthier, I think Luthier, I think Luthier, I think all of them, I had a little bit of that feeling, but there was none more large than this one being like, oh yeah, oh, this is good. And then it delivered. because a game might not deliver, but it did deliver. I mean, again, what I'm saying is generally it'll deliver, if that's what I'm saying. But yeah, it was really, really great. I think my enthusiasm for it was clear because James in our Discord was like, "This is what I think Chris's list is so far." I was like, "Yeah, you're 100%. You're 100% right. That's my list." But yeah, I love games that make me love games. You know, I love games that cause me to express my joy while playing them. That it doesn't matter what's going on, but that the mechanics are so exciting to interact with, that give you that sense of dopamine, that feeling of progression, that feeling of being clever, that feeling of working out a puzzle and that you have found the answer. Games can provide so much of that, and Praga is absolutely one of those things as well. I think it was just great. Now it's interesting because it's number one on the list, but I don't know if I would want it in my collection. And that's a weird feeling because I want Darwin's Journey, I want Galactic Cruise, I'd be happy with Luthier, depending on the box size being in my collection. I think Praga is one of those games that I could play this with Zach and he'd really like it. But the complexity of it, the way the mechanics interact with each other, and because it is such a boring, dry, bland Euro, I don't think I would have as much success getting people to play this with me. I think I could introduce Darwin's Journey with the theme of it to some people, and I think Darwin's Journey is, well, no, it's less complex. What are you rated as complexity? 3.14? 3.9! Look, it's rated as more complex than Praga. 3.74 versus 3.9. But I think I would have an easier time like getting new gamers to play Darwin's Journey than I would getting them to play Praga Caput Regni, because just even the title would turn people off. So I think it requires a very specific audience to enjoy, but I am absolutely that audience. I think this game is wicked. I think it's wicked smart, and yeah, I had a great time with it. So there we go. That's my not so brief wrap up of KublaCon, of the games that I played in KublaCon. As you can see, I played some really good ones, some that made me over the moon excited, things that I actively want to add to my collection, which is a high, high bar because I do not have space. Means I have to get rid of things. Yeah, Galactic Cruise I'd never pull out and play with people, but it's still one of those things I'd want on the shelf. Ugh. Darwin's Journey comes in such a skinny box too. Oh, it's awesome. Great, great box presents. Really. And Praga was just so good. It was a fun time. Hope you enjoyed hearing about these games. Have you played any of them? Drop your opinions down in the comments below as to which ones you really like. Thanks for everybody who stopped and said hi at KublaCon as well. I'm sorry if you said hi and I didn't get a chance to play a game with you, but I am thrilled with the games that I was able to play, and thanks everybody for playing with me as well. That's it. That's the recap. I like conventions. I like seeing people who are my friends. So thanks. And hopefully I'll see you all at the next one. I don't think I'll be at anything until World Series of Board Gaming. And realistically, you won't see me there, even if you do go. But I do think it's a fun time, so I hope you go. If you want a KublaCon like $30 off discount code, if you haven't gotten any discount codes for World Series, send me a message. I can hook you up. Don't you worry. If you want to go to the World Series, and just like let me know, I'll not get you back. I may not have a catchphrase, but I do have a code.